This channel is sponsored by the Army Painter.
If, for whatever reason, you wanted to play Imperial Knights and not focus on the giant Gothic Gundams on the cover, there's finally an option for you. Spearhead-at-Arms is an armature-focused detachment, letting you flood the board in medium-sized warglaives and helverins while making the most out of bondsman abilities. For detachment focuses, codex reviews, and hobby tutorials, subscribe to us here on YouTube. To read more, head to goonhammer.com. Link in the description. Detachment Rule. Knightly Teachings. Each time a model from your army uses its bondsman ability, if no other model has used that bondsman ability this turn, you can select up to 3 friendly armature models within 12 inches of the model or within 15 inches of that model while your army is honored, and all 3 can use that ability. Armature models from your army also gain the battle line keyword. This rule is powerful. Being able to hand out 3 times the buffs per questoris chassis is a massive power spike for some of them, most notably the Knight Defender handing out -1 damage or the Cerastus Knight Lancer. It also allows you to break the rule of 3, which is handy since many Imperial Knight players now own 4 to 5 of each of the base armature hulls. The one kicker is that helverins and warglaives have seen a toning down since the index days, but this certainly shores them up. The enhancements here all revolve around bondsman abilities, but only key off while 2 or more armatures are being affected by them. That means they don't work when you've got just one armature under the effect, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Mentor's Pride lets armatures reroll hit rolls of 1. It's a broadly useful ability, and you'll want to take it every game. Fables of Nightmare gives your armatures precision with their melee weapons. While your warglaives don't hit that hard in melee, this can help you snipe some squishier characters, and is very frightening to certain armies. Tales of Heroism lets your armatures ignore modifiers to hit and wound rolls in melee. It's pretty situational, but in some matchups can be very helpful. Martial Tuition lets one of your armatures use the counteroffensive stratagem for free. It's situational for sure, but it could be powerful in the right circumstances. The stratagems generally work on one armature or a few bondsmen, making for a pretty flexible toolbox. Virtue of Courage gives +1 to hit rolls in melee for an armature or to a knight's bondsman. For a big melee push, having 2 or 3 warglaives hitting on 2s is pretty solid. Exemplar's Wisdom is an AP buff for your bondsmen, provided they shoot at the same target as your big knight. Mark a target with your big knight's dinky little stubbers while the big guns focus on something else, and let your armatures take care of the rest. This pairs nicely with the Cerastus Castigator, who already gives sustained hits and +1 AP to their bondsman. Mantle of the Mentor lets an armature or a knight's bondsman shoot after falling back. This is always great for knights, especially for your helverins, who don't want to be in combat in the first place. Thin Their Ranks gives an armature or group of bondsmen rapid-fire 1 on the ranged weapons, which is positively nasty on a warglaive's thermal spear. Let Duty Be Your Shield is an Armor of Contempt style stratagem, reducing the AP by 1 of attacks against one of your armatures in the shooting phase. Unless this gets an errata specifically letting it last the whole phase, this meets the same criteria as other Armor of Contempt style stratagems, meaning it only lasts for the rest of the activation instead of the whole phase. That limits its usefulness, but it can keep a unit alive when you need it. Squires of the Hunt lets you pull an armature or a big knight's bondsman off the table, provided they're within 9 inches of an edge and not engaged. It's great for getting around the table, but it does prevent your armatures from being buffed by any bondsman abilities when they come back onto the board, as they'll be off the table in your command phase. Still, it's great for objective and positioning play. The biggest challenge with playing this detachment is that games can easily be lost in the movement phase if you don't properly plan out the next turn's bondsman abilities. You'll want to be projecting power into the midboard while projecting your questoris chassis as best you can, while also keeping them in range for bondsman abilities. As the stratagems and enhancements amplify these abilities, losing a single questoris chassis can be even more devastating to this detachment than it normally would be. You also don't want to double up on any particular questoris knight, as you can't use the detachment rule more than once per bondsman ability. Force multipliers like the Knight Warden or Cerastus Knight Castigator are quite potent, and the Defender is unmatched in terms of defensive buffs for armatures. We expect the Defender to be the one mainstay in most Spearhead-at-Arms lists due to the combination of this and its Defender's Duty bondsman ability. Now let's go over the strengths and weaknesses. It turns bondsman abilities up to 11. Some of these are amazing and others are middling, but this detachment reduces the number of questoris chassis required to keep those armigers fighting at their full potential. Flexible stratagems. This detachment's stratagems support nearly any combination of armigers and questoris models, making them even more flexible. Speed. Any army built around armigers is going to be a fast one, and it'll have lots of speed to move around the table and pick its targets. No, unfortunately, Helverin's lost anti-fly 2-up on their autocannons, which makes them a bit less scary than they used to be. Big Knights. This detachment lacks any kind of bonuses for the questoris chassis, which are crucial for this detachment to work, and so have to be taken to get the most out of the detachment. List building constraints. Requiring bondsman abilities to be up to get the most out of the enhancements and stratagems mean that you're pretty constrained in list building. Most lists are going to be 2 questoris knights and 6 armigers. This is definitely an interesting detachment, and one that most Imperial Knights players should be able to easily field if they've been playing Knights for a while. This is also the only way to field more than 6 of the baseline armigers, so it's also the most flexible in terms of gameplay. It synergizes best with the Knight Defender, but any collection should be able to put up a decent fight with it. We definitely think it's got some potential, and chances are pretty good that you can run it anyway, so give it a shot. If you want to read more about this detachment and check out a sample list, head over to goonhammer.com. Now why don't you get into Melter Range and rapid fire blast that subscribe button, then support us on Patreon to ensure we keep making videos like this one. You also get Discord access, bonus podcasts, and extra features in tabletop battles like faction-specific trackers, so you can track resources like pain tokens or record when your knights become honored. I've been Warden McMentor, and don't talk to me or my bondsman ever again. Thanks for watching.